Hello everyone, my name is Zenitsu and I'm back with another Digimon video. So today I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new Bandai Premium set that's labeled Digimon Liberators Debuggers. So what is the Debugger set? Many Digimon players have asked the question, is it worth it to actually buy the Bandai Premium Digimon card game Liberators Debugger set? In this video, I'll be going over if, well, it actually is worth it to buy from a financial side, a personal side, and like a product design side with all of the marketing trends based on what information we actually have available. So this is a deluxe set that's going to be celebrating the characters from the Digimon Liberators webcomic and web novel series. So with this premium set, as far as what you're actually going to be getting, you're going to be getting an accordion styled backing sheet. You're going to be getting 52 total cards, so 2 of each of the 26 cards that are in the set, and you're also going to be getting a storage box along with it. And all of this could be yours for the low price of $60 plus tax and shipping and handling. So as far as the actual physical contents, this is what the storage box is going to be looking like. It is a longer storage box, so it doesn't look anything special. It's just a box with a nice design on it. Then when it comes to the card illustrations and the accordion stuff, it's just going to basically be comic panels, so it's kind of neat. Then as far as the actual card value, since there is a whole bunch of cards in the set, I'm actually breaking this section up into 2 bits. The first one is going to be focused on cards and characters from the webcomic. So that's going to be 13 cards here, and then the web novel is going to be another 13 for that full 26. So as far as the cards involved, it's going to be Starter Deck 18 Zephicamon, EX7 Sendrilmon, BT19 Ryugumon, EX8 Pyramidimon, BT20 Necromon, BT21 Medusamon, and their respective tamers, with the EX7 secret rare option, Vortex Resonance, to kind of wrap the whole thing up nicely. You can see that each of the cards has a base art and or alt or foil. Keep in mind, this is not including any promos or SP variants when it comes to these cards and how I'm going to be evaluating them, because, you know, usually Bandai Premium cards fall in the middle of, like, the high rarity and, you know, baseline. So as far as the total value of this side of things, just calculating one copy of each of these cards, you're already looking at that $60 price point or around there. And then on top of that, if you're looking and taking into account the foil variants, because, you know, these cards are actually going to be foil and hold a little bit more value than their base counterparts, you're looking at around $200 if that's the price point that you're going to be taking into account. So we do have to keep in mind that all of these are as of the recording of this video when it comes to the price and the current market trends. Sometimes when Bandai Premium products are announced, depending on supply and demand and, you know, where the meta is, they'll either go up or they'll sometimes go down. You'll never know what it's actually going to do until it comes out. And like I said, this is just only the first half of the cards, because we also have the web novel cards. So this is going to be EX7 Heavy Metalgermon, BT19 Queen Beemon, EX8 Dinomon, EX8 Scottymon, BT20 Invisimon, and EX9 Kaguyamon with their respective tamers as well, and the Digimon Liberator promo. So again, you could see all of the base and alt versions of these cards, and right now, because we don't actually have EX9 as of the recording of this video, we have 2 cards that currently don't really have a market value, so that's going to influence the price, most likely drive it up, because those 2 cards are going to be really good and sought after for their respective deck. And again, just looking into the base value price that we're going to be adding to what we just added to last time, it's a little bit lower with $24, but the alt art version or foil versions are going to combine to be $140 for this half. So this half, it does look like it's a little bit cheaper when it comes to it, but again, that's because we have 2 cards that don't really have any market value that I'm not going to be calculating. And we also have to remember that these are 2 halves to the whole product, so you're just going to want to combine those numbers to get your range in which this product is actually going to be valued at. So I'll just do that for you really quickly and adding it all up. And again, this is just for one copy of each of the cards, as if you were buying them right now on the current market. It's going to be about $84 for just the base versions, and if you were strapping for the alts, it's $340. But again, Bandai Premium products generally don't go that high. So we have to also take into account that this is just for one, so you could double it and get your value for the whole set. And yeah, it seems like it's actually going to be pretty worth it, but again, we don't exactly know where the market is going to settle when these cards are going to be coming out. So this is just all pure speculation based on our current market trends. And as far as the overall supply value, because we're not getting any other pieces of supply outside of literally the storage box, there's not really going to be a whole lot of added extra value in supplies. So usually those style of storage boxes are about an extra $10 to $20, pending art, design, and overall supply of them. So when it comes to comparing this to other products, we actually haven't had a whole lot of products with a lot of emphasis on the actual cards of the set. Most of the time, it's offset with a lot of supplementary goods, as you could kind of see here, so it's definitely really nice to see that Bandai is actually giving us a good quantity of cards and some really good and needed reprints. So there are a couple of personal gripes. It's not really a whole lot, but it is some I want to address. It's more of like a flavor fail and a reprint fail rather than like, I think this product is actually bad. So not including Zenith and Galactimon, Cool Boy and Omnimon X, or even Battle NPC because they're all Liberator traded cards seems like a missed opportunity, especially considering at least in the first half of the story that we've gotten with Liberators, Zenith and Galactimon, Cool Boy, and Omnimon are technically part of the debugging team. So it's just really weird that their focus is where the story's current development is rather than, you know, the story as a whole. So I find that to be a little bit weird, but still the amount of cards that we got is actually pretty nice. And as far as the other gripe, there were a couple of cards that I think could have had some better reprints. So instead of the starter deck Shoto, I think that either EX7 or the promo Shoto would have been way better of a choice. And then when it comes to the Orisa, we're getting the starter deck Orisa. Again, I think that reprinting starter deck cards is kind of silly. So I would have rather seen the promo Orisa as the premier Orisa that should have gotten a reprint, or at the very least like EX7 just because it's not in a starter deck. But I think from a flavor perspective, just reprinting starter deck cards is not necessarily the greatest thing in the world, considering they're a starter deck card, they're relatively available, and at least like for those two decks, you're going to want to get those decks to start building upon them because they have some pretty key and pivotal cards in them for those decks. And then when it comes to Zeffica, again, it goes to the trend of I hate them reprinting starter deck cards in this type of a product. So I literally would have rather seen any other Zeffica. I think like Zeffica Ace, if they're not trying to go like too heavy on the value, would have been pretty good because at least he's a secret rare and at least like he's still a good card. And then you could have also done EX7 Zeffica just because it holds a little bit more value, even though it's less important than either of the other Zefficas, whether it's Zeffica Ace or the starter deck Zeffica. So those are my only personal gripes. Outside of that, I think it's actually a pretty good product, and $60 definitely makes it worth your money because, again, some of the reprints involved are actually really good and needed reprints, and I'm happy that it's here to make those more accessible, even if it is in a Bandai Premium product. So the thing with this set is you really also have to really want to play Liberators, like these Liberator decks, and be a Liberator fan if you're actually going to want this product, in my perspective. So, like, if I have no interest in any of the decks or any of the cards, then this is just an easy skip. But I do think that with the popularity of some of the Liberator decks, it's a really desirable product because it basically gives you access to almost all of them. Whether they're actually good or not is to be determined. I think that most of the Liberator decks really haven't done anything in the meta, and if they did, it literally was in the set that they came out in, and then after after that, we kind of just evolved past them, but not saying that they can't get any more support, and it's likely that some of these decks, or most of these decks, will eventually get another wave of support, so it makes it a pretty decent investment to want to get and start building the decks off of this, because from a new player perspective, or even a returning player's perspective, just in general, if you want to play any of these Liberator decks, this is a fantastic product because it's a great gateway into actually building all of those decks, having the key boss monster and the subsequent tamer to support the deck. And well, because it's a Liberator deck, and most of the Liberator decks, because they haven't been super hyper meta defining, it's not like they're very expensive decks either, so you don't necessarily have to put a whole bunch of money into building whatever of the Liberator decks that you want to actually build towards, which I think is pretty cool from a product. It almost feels like a deck builder toolkit in a way, just you need to buy the rest of the cards to actually finish the deck, but you get to pick whichever one you want and kind of go from there. So we do have to keep in mind that this is literally not going to be shipping out until January of 2026. So there's going to be a pretty decent time lag between when we're ordering this and when we're actually going to be getting it. And like I said, who knows where the market or the meta is going to be to see if this is actually a viable product or not that was, worth buying into. But we're going to buy into it anyway, because I think this product is a absolute home run when it comes to the overall value and design of what this product is. So I'm going to be giving it a solid S rank rating, but I think this is actually just that good of a product because it just makes cards accessible. You could start building whatever deck out of it that you want. It's a really good gateway and access point to be able to build a wide variety of decks and get playing. And who knows, maybe you could even build this little sealed box where you're going to have a whole bunch of Liberator decks and then they could battle against each other, and that could be its own cute little format type thing. So there's a lot of good that I feel like comes from this type of a product, which is why I am rating it so highly. And then we also have to not forget that Bandai also has another product up for pre-order, and that's going to be the brand new game Digimon Stories Time Strangers. So this is going to be a pretty decent looking game from the looks of it, and there are certain additions. If you do pre-order it, you do get at least a promo of the premiered new Digimon, but on the collector's version you also do get alt art versions of Grace Novamon, Lunamon, and Coronamon. So we don't know when this promo is going to get reprinted, if it's going to get reprinted at all, and we also don't know how we're going to be implementing this based on, again, where the current state of the game is and where it's going. But as far as a promo goes, it actually looks to be a pretty decent card. It's got a lot going for it in terms of the inheritable ability it has and the trait it also has. It being a vaccine is super relevant for yellow cards. Barrier's a pretty decent ability, so it looks like it's going to be a okay card, but obviously you'd be getting this more for the video game rather than the Digimon cards themselves. But again, keep in mind that whenever I do these types of reviews, art and cards and supplies are always going to be personal preference. You should get what you want regardless of how I feel or rate this product. So we have to note that the pre-order window is going to be from June 1st to July 1st. And again, it's going to be delivered to us in January of 2026, which is 6 to 7 months after purchase, which is per norm of Bandai Premium stuff. I hate that they do that, but I understand why they do that. So that's going to be all I have for this video. Feel free to tell me your thoughts about this product down in the comments below. And as always, if you found this video to be helpful and enjoyable, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell to stay up to date for whenever I go live or upload next. And with that, I hope to see you all in the next video.